Testing. Hey guys, can you hear me now? Thank you for letting me know, Sassy Pants. I've been sitting here chit-chatting with you all. Oh, I don't know. Sometimes technology is so frustrating. Welcome in, everyone. I've had a bit of a technology issue today. I went live this morning. I was still asleep, half asleep. And one of my beautiful friends messaged me and said, Fotis has been charged with murder. And I hadn't even let my morning pain medication kick in to have chronic pain. And I was live and it was a bit of a shit show. I apologize, guys. And the video I did was also awful. So I'm awake now. My brain is somewhat functioning, so we can go over the case. But welcome in, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Montana Sky, Sassy Pants. Thank you again, Sassy Pants, for letting me know. Hey, Renee. Hey, Emily. Hey, David. How are you doing? Hey, Jana. I said actually before when you guys couldn't hear me, I was asking Jana if it was Jana or Jana, just so I can remember. I hate mispronouncing people's names. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Jack's mum. Hey Rose, hey Karina, hey JR, hey Dee Dee, hey Bunny Bubs, how are you? I'm good, I'm good. So we weren't actually going to go, hey Julia, we weren't going to go live today, but I really wanted to bring you information about this case. I covered this case very extensively on another channel. And so some of you may know about the case, but some of you might not. So before we get into what's the latest update today, I do want to go back and show you guys the case from the beginning so that we are all up to date. But I want to see who knows about the case and who doesn't. So pop a 1 in the chat if you know about the Fotis Dulos, Jennifer Dulos case, and pop a 2 in the chat if you don't know anything about the case. Hey Jane Doe, Giza Monkey. That's weird. I haven't seen any comments from you at all. There's not been any comments to approve either. Hey Janice. That is weird. Okay, so, oh, well, Emily, we're going to show you, we're going to cover this case for you. Montana Sky doesn't. You guys, this case is, hey, Kanga Blue, this case is interesting. I personally didn't think who else out there did not think that today was going to come? I genuinely didn't know that if we would get a murder charge. Honestly, I'm shocked. So I'm excited to dive back in and to refresh. And I remembered as well that I had started creating a timeline. So we can actually, great for Past Bridget was really clever. Thanks, Past Bridget. So that now I can actually go through with you all. Hey, Faithful One. Look, the thing is as well, Emily, this is really hard to research because if you don't follow this case from the beginning, it can be a little tricky because there's so much to go through. There's lots of twists and turns and it's very complex. So I'm excited that I kept the timeline. I haven't updated it yet though. I was still partially doing it. So let's start with the timeline. We'll start with the people down the bottom of the screen. So on the left you have Fotis Dulos. He is the estranged husband of Jennifer Dulos, who is the woman on the far right. Oh, Janice, thank you. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Can everyone please hashtag thank you to Janice for me, please? The woman in the middle is Fotis Dulos' girlfriend at the time that Jennifer goes missing. Her name is Michelle Troconis. So they're the people that you see on the screen. Yes, and the lawyer was charged today as well. It's just, there's so much. I forgot that I actually was monetized, so that was a delightful little reminder. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so let's get started. Let me share my screen with you guys. And those mugshots that you see on that were on the screen, they're actually from today. So, window capture. Thank you, Janice. I mean, I did work really hard at this case. Where am I going? Timeline, Google Docs. Nope, that's not it. Okay, here we go. I have put a lot into this case. So I'm so happy that I remembered about this timeline. There's still a lot to do on the timeline, but from what I remember, it had a good amount of information. It is a whole new world being monetized, but there's some videos I'm not going to monetize. There's some things I'm not going to monetize. I need to just remember to take that off though before. The other thing is that a lot of my videos don't qualify because I talk about murder. Okay, so let's go through. The events actually happen. Jennifer goes missing in 2019, but I wanted to start from the beginning because I think it's important for us to do that. So everyone knows, I've got a hair in my mouth. Ugh. So everyone knows Jennifer Dulos is American. Fotis Dulos was born in Turkey and raised in Greece. He has dual citizenship for Greece and America. So in August 2004, Jennifer and Fotis Dulos marry. Now, a little background on Jennifer Farber. She has parents who worked really, really hard and were very well off. So she had a comfortable life. Fotis marries into the family, and his parents-in-law actually buy their home for them and help out with his business. He starts a business. That's important to remember for the future. He had great in-laws, and we love Gloria. We adore Gloria Farber. You'll find out why soon. So let's go to 2017. March 2017, according to court documents, Jennifer Dulos discovers that Fotis is having an affair with Michelle Troconis. How long that's been going on, we don't know. Yes, we love Gloria. May 2017, it is alleged that Fotis Dulos threatens that if Jennifer Dulos doesn't agree to the divorce terms he states, he will kidnap the children. He applied for Greek passports for the children at the time. So that's important to remember as well. So when she discovers that Fotis is having an affair, things change quickly, and Jennifer's done. She moves out in June, as we're coming up to see. She moves out and she files for divorce, and she's done. She wasn't sticking around. And from then is where everything gets really heated and very contentious. So June 2017, this is kind of key. On the 19th of June 2017, Fotis actually calls 911 because he's concerned that he doesn't know where Jennifer or the children are. Now, I do believe that 911 call, I think I've heard it. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. If I can find the original source, and share it with you guys. I will do that, but I can't play a video that's on YouTube for copyright reasons. So the next day after he's called 911, Jennifer files for divorce, which is interesting. She leaves the family home in Farmington with the children and rents a residence in New Canaan. I can't remember if it's Canaan or Canaan or Canaan. I think it's Canaan. I always forget. New Canaan. So she, the interesting thing about that I remember we talked about is that it took several attempts for her to actually leave, because he refused to let the moving company into the home to take their stuff, to take her stuff and her kids' stuff. So what they had to do is she had to ask the moving company to come in a truck that wasn't labeled in any way. And for Jay Suarez, I was just thinking about you this morning. I was wondering how you were. It's so lovely to see you. I hope you're well. So she has to leave. The moving company aren't allowed to wear their uniforms. They have to be in plain clothes. They leave early in the morning. Very, very, she wanted to be out of there. She wanted it to be quiet and she didn't want him to know. I thought that's an important point to remember. Fotis decides he continues to live in the Farmington home, and he was there up until this morning when he was arrested. Yes, and he continues to run his business, the 4 Group, as well. Jennifer files for an emergency relief for full custody of their children, and then on the 20th, oh no, that's double. So let me just take that out right now. Okay, so from June we go into July. Fotis Dulos is only allowed telephone contact with his children, and according to Judge Thomas Collin, Jennifer and Fotis are free to communicate with each other in writing via email or text on any issues regarding the children. The 25th request for emergency relief is denied because she is not established by a preponderance of the evidence that there is an immediate and present risk of physical danger or psychological harm to the party's children. So, hey, Tracker 3, she had genuine concern because remember, Fotis has told her in the past that if she doesn't do what he wants, he's going to kidnap the children. So, I mean, that's kind of scary. He's got their Greek passports. He's got dual citizenship to Greece. His family live in Greece. You know, very, very scary. Hey, Kelly Bell, how are you? So, where are we up to? August 2017, Jennifer files one of many motions for contempt against Fotis Dulos. Jennifer Dulos claims that Fotis almost struck her with his Suburban. Throughout the divorce proceedings, Fotis files a number of motions for contempt against his wife. So as you can see, it's not good. It's not amicable at all. They are at war with each other. And it's interesting that Jennifer claims that Fotis almost hit her with his car. November 2017, 14th, Fotis Dulos could have Michelle Troconis present whilst he parented children. So at first Jennifer didn't want Michelle around the children, and then that's finally been allowed. December 2017, Fotis Dulos emails Jennifer Dulos and says, "Our children deserve a mother and a father, not one or the other. If we cannot live together, we can at least get along for their sake and benefit." Then we move into 2018. In January, on the 18th, an emergency order of custody is filed by Jennifer, and Judge Donna Heller orders the documents to be sealed. February of 2018, Fotis Dulos has had his access to his children suspended. Yes, I did lots of info on this case, Julia. March 2018, on the 1st, emergency order of custody is once again denied. Judge Heller states, "There is no credible evidence to support the defendant's claim that the plaintiff had hired a hitman to break his legs." After hearing the judge upholds the denial of access to the children, he says his facility in testifying falsely to the court suggests that he is equally comfortable in encouraging his children to lie to achieve his desired outcome. So basically what happened, if I do remember correctly, is that he was trying to convince they have 5 children together, 2 sets of twins and a single child that's unfortunately also the middle child. I just feel for that child. I want to love on that child hard. It must be really hard to be in the middle of 2 sets of twins. But he was trying to convince the older 2 boys to lie in order to allow him full custody, I believe. So he also was lying in court. So the judge, the judge wasn't happy about that at all, and he actually suspended the access to the kids. In April 2018, court documents show that a physician is retained to perform custody and psychological evaluations on both parents. And then we go into 2019. So this is the year that, unfortunately, Jennifer goes missing. So he is a disgusting guy, Jack's mum. So this is when we take all of that knowledge that we have from the past and the shit show that is the past, and we bring it into what's happened. So March 2019, Fotis Dulos is granted restrictive supervised access to his children. Conditions include that he doesn't have any private conversations with the children and that he does not disparage anyone involved in the case in the children's presence, because what he was doing is he was trying to get into the kids' ears and their minds and manipulate them for his own well-being. That schedule includes 7 hours with the children spent in Fairfield County on May 25th and another 7 hours spent in Hartford County on May 26th. And it doesn't happen, obviously, due to Jennifer's disappearance. I think this is actually something that I don't know whether a lot of people are mentioning, but to me that seems like a really big deal. The fact that Jennifer goes missing on the 24th. On the 25th and the 26th, he was supposed to have 14 hours that weekend with the kids. I'm kind of wondering, there has to be some correlation there. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, I just feel like maybe if the police weren't on top of their game, maybe he had the idea that he was going to take the kids during that weekend. There's just something in that that's just very interesting. He's never had that sort of access before over a weekend. So I wonder whether there's any correlation between then Jennifer going missing the day before. It's just an interesting theory that I have. So in May of 2019, Fotis says that he claims the assets that he claims to own is valued at $363,228.50. And this does not include the value of the Four Group. The Four Group is the company that he owns and runs and was running out of his Farmington home. Money becomes a big issue in this case, and you will see that why soon. So this is more details about the day that Jennifer goes missing. So let me move this over a little bit. Here we go. So you can see that what we did was we have the person color coded and the times, because I got this from the arrest warrants that were issued to him. He had been charged with 2 counts of tampering with evidence, and so these were released. This information was released, and I sort of pieced it all together. Okay, so at 8 a.m., Jennifer drops the children off at the New Canaan County Day School. I think it's county, not country. Hey, Gingerlock's mum. At 12 o'clock, so she drops the kids off, and she's witnessed dropping the kids off. And that's unfortunately the last time anyone sees her. 12 p.m, the housekeeper arrives at Jennifer's home and finds no one home. Now, I want to do a little bit more research because I don't know whether it was the housekeeper. I actually think it was the nanny that arrived home from what I read today. So I'll have to sort of confirm that. So at 1:37, Fotis's phone pings at 80 Mountain Spring. Now that is a property that his company, the 4 Group, were working on. And so he's pinged there at 1:37. At 4:17, Fotis is tracked back to his home in Jefferson Crossing. At 5:21, Fotis's cell phone has returned to 80 Mountain Spring Road. At 5:34 p.m, Fotis's cell phone returns to his home. So he's going back and forth. And I will say that in the morning, Fotis's phone doesn't move. It stays at his address. So 7 p.m, friends of Jennifer Dulos become concerned when she fails to attend doctor's appointments she had that day in New York City. Friends aren't able to get in contact with her. Jennifer Dulos is reported missing into New Canaan Police Department by friends. And I do believe that then I've read somewhere today that the nanny was also very concerned. I read that she had placed 12 paper towels in the cupboard the night before, and then when she came into the home, she noticed that there were only 2 remaining, and so she questioned where the 10 rolls of paper actually were, kitchen paper were. So that's very interesting. Okay, so we know we don't have a time for this, but police attempt to gain access to the home but are unsuccessful. The nanny provides officers access to the residence at the behest of the family. So the report is created, and they are, I am going to say this, New Canaan police are on point with this. So on point with this. They were on it from the second they get in, and they're just incredible what they did with this case. So let's scroll up. New Canaan Police Department are in the home, and they also find several large stains on the garage floor and on the vehicle parked in the garage. Later, it is determined that the car is registered to the 4 Group, which is Fotis Dulos' business. Physical evidence was found in the garage, multiple stains on the garage floor, which later tested positive for human blood, multiple areas of suspected blood spatter, and evidence of an attempt to clean the crime scene. So they're very concerned now. So that's when the New Canaan Police Department contact Connecticut State Police, Western District Major Crime Squad for investigating and crime scene processing. The case is now considered a joint case. And then they begin to search the surrounding areas of the home, obviously for more evidence, I believe. At 7:10 p.m, Fotis Dulos' phone travels to Albany Avenue area in the north end of Hartford. This is the same location in which a man is seen on surveillance video putting garbage bags in several different trash receptacles in a black Ford Raptor. The man seen on the video is wearing a baseball cap and a light coloured shirt. It is believed that some of these items are covered in blood. Video shows a man putting something into a storm drain. Investigators later identify the item as a FedEx box, and inside the box were 2 Connecticut license plates. The video shows 2 people matching the description of Fotis and Michelle Troconis in a Ford pickup truck. So basically what the police are alleging is that night they went to different trash receptacles all around the area and dumped a lot of they dumped off a lot of evidence in different areas. And then, unfortunately, at 7:41, Fotis' cell ping shows him leaving the area and returning to Jefferson Crossing in Farmington. So it's all very consistent with where the person was dumping off all of the stuff. So I haven't finished going through May 25th. There's other stuff to discuss, but I think one of the key things from that day is what Fotis Dulos does. He goes to the New Canaan Police Department and meets investigators in the lobby. His iPhone Model X is seized as Detective Allegro, who believed it contained evidence in relation to Jennifer's disappearance. Fotis is there with his lawyer, his attorney, and they refuse to cooperate. They refuse to answer questions. And so police actually obtain a search and seizure warrant to get information from the device. So not much is known then. There is blood evidence in the garage, but there's no other real evidence. So we move into June. So that happened May 24th. We're into June, and he is arrested and charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence and hindering prosecution in the first degree. His bond is set at $500,000. He posted bond and he was out, and then he was attached to an ankle monitor. And we have gone through all of the arrest warrants before. We can do that on another live if you guys are interested. So we have that up for anyone who hasn't read them before. Then Michelle Troconis, his girlfriend, suddenly isn't his girlfriend anymore. They're now ex-partners. She's charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence and hindering prosecution in the first degree. Her bond is set at $500,000 and she posts bond as well. I don't know whether she had an ankle monitor. I can't remember. So then we move into July. Nothing happened in July, or I haven't actually put it in. August 2019, on the 29th, attached is the defendant's motion for psychological evaluation of Gloria Farber. So basically what's happening is, as I mentioned, there was money issues between Fotis Dulos and then with his in-laws. I can't remember. Does anyone remember Gloria's husband's name? I can't remember on the top of my head. But he passed, and when Jennifer goes missing, the custody of the 5 children go to Gloria Farber. She's incredible. She files a motion to, she does everything she possibly can, and she files a lot of motions, but she also wants her money back that they had lent Fotis for his company. And so there's a huge civil lawsuit that's going on as well during all of this. So you've got custody for the kids going on. You've got the divorce proceedings are still going on. They're not divorced yet, Jennifer and Fotis. Now you've got a civil case for the money that is owed. And then the home, the Farmington home, was actually not owned by Jennifer and Fotis. It was owned by Gloria and her husband. And Fotis wasn't paying any rent. He wasn't contributing towards that. And so that's another aspect of this as well. He was basically it's just ridiculous, living there rent-free, claiming that he didn't have any money, I don't know where all his money is, but he's been able to post bond a couple of times, and apparently he's going to post bond tomorrow as well. So there's all that going on as well. And then Fotis has the audacity to ask for a psychological evaluation of Gloria Faber. Herbert sounds familiar. And so then there goes this back and forth for a couple of months between them. They're just, it's sort of all playing out in the media as well, and it's like who's taking a shot at who and all of that sort of stuff. Now let me just have a quick scroll. I haven't mentioned it. It's around this time that a gag order is actually put in place. Because I think that they all had enough. Fotis gets a new lawyer, and he goes with Norm Pattis, who is representing Alex Jones as well. And he's on top of it and very aggressive, and he's very interesting to watch, actually. But a gag order is put in place because Fotis was using the media as a way to get misinformation out there. There were things like he was saying that she's the next Gone Girl, that she faked her death to get back at Fotis, and now she's living her life somewhere happily. There's rumors he came out saying that she was pregnant or seriously gravely ill because of doctor's bills, and so I think that the courts got kind of annoyed and they actually put a gag order. And so this is when sort of everything quietens down a little bit because they're not getting information out there in the media. So that sort of happens in September 3rd, 2019. He is charged on the 4th, he's charged again with tampering with physical evidence. And so he's got 2 charges now. And let me just scroll. I think that's it. Yeah, I got a couple of little notes. So he's charged with tampering with physical evidence, but during this time, there's no charge of murder. Unfortunately, Jennifer's body is nowhere to be found. They are searching and searching and searching. They still don't know where her body is, unless they do, and they're not making it known, but you'd think that we'd know about it through the media. So her body is nowhere to be found. And I think that for a lot of us, we thought that he was going to get away with it because there was no body and we weren't sure about what evidence they knew. 2 little notes I have written down here is about the incident with the car. So remember how Jennifer claimed he attempted to strike her with the car. This is what is said. In it, she claimed Fotis Dulos almost struck her with his Suburban in her driveway when he was supposed to pick up the children. The filing states that Fotis accelerated and swerved at the last minute to avoid hitting her. The children witnessed this incident. The motion states that immediately after, Fotis Dulos said to his wife, "You should be locked away, and why don't you pop another pill?" The document states that Fotis Doulos also said, "You're insane, you should be put in an insane asylum. You're an unfit mother, and I can do whatever I want. You don't have a restraining order." So, very gaslighty sounding to me. He did this a lot though. He would threaten her and he just played a lot of games, mind games with her that just seemed like torture. I don't know how she handled it all. So, and then, you know, the whole divorce is just so contentious, and Fotis claims his wife tried to alienate the children from him by scheduling non-essential activities during his parenting time. He also claimed that she made a number of disparaging comments about him to the children, such as, "Your father did not work enough to make more money. Your dad is a psychopath. You are your father's slave, and your dad does not care about you." I will comment that from what we are told, the 2 older boys water skied a lot and were pushed to do that by their father, but they didn't really have, none of the kids allegedly had great relationships with him. So that's just something to note. So they had court in December, but it wasn't anything sort of interesting. It's just motion after motion. The civil case did happen, but I didn't actually follow it, so I'm going to have to go back and do research before I can report on that. But as we know today, Fotis was arrested and charged with several things. He was charged with 2 counts of murder. Let me just pull up exactly, I want to use the right term. There was 2 different types. So count 1 is murder, count 2 is felony murder, and count 3 is kidnapping in the 1st degree. So he was charged with that. Now we also have 2 others that were charged today. And we'll go through the arrest warrants soon. Let me just pull up Troconis. Troconis today was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. She had in the past been charged twice, the same days that Fotis Dulos was, with tampering with physical evidence. And then Kent Mawini, who was Fotis's attorney, civil attorney, today he was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. So that's interesting in itself as well. Allegedly he has been charged, I do believe. Let me pull up the exact charges, but he was charged with spousal rape, I do believe. Oh, he was arrested today under gunpoint. So he was, as soon as Fotis Dulos was charged with the first count of tampering, this Kent dude actually stopped working for Fotis Dulos. I'm trying to find his other charges. So he'd been previously charged with violating a protective order in his own divorce. He also allegedly had Fotis Doulos contact his estranged wife on his behalf, which is very interesting. And now he's been charged with conspiracy to commit murder against Jennifer Dulos. So the last, when I went on, he wasn't in custody yet. Michelle and Fotis were, but he was brought to custody a few hours ago. He was detained at gunpoint during a traffic stop in Tolland late Tuesday afternoon. What I did read is that police did actually go to the courthouse because he was in court with clients, and when they actually arrived, he'd already left, which was very convenient, I think. And so he was actually arrested at gunpoint today, which is interesting. Hey, Nola Chick. So let's have a little look now at the documents from today. Let me pull it up. Now, I'm not going to go through all 3 people's documents with a fine-tooth comb because some of them are very similar. And I'm not going to like reread everything. But let's see what we can do. Give me a second to fiddle with this. So is everyone sort of aware now? Is everyone sort of caught up with the case? Why won't it let me? Okay, I guess it just won't let me do that. Okay, so his attorney, his former attorney, was arrested at gunpoint. His former attorney, Kent Mawhinney, was arrested at gunpoint today. Norm Pattis is Mr. Ponytail Guy. He has nothing. He's not been arrested for anything. He's still working for him. The lawyer is Kent Mawhinney, who was his civil trial lawyer, who actually quit as soon as Fotis was arrested with that first tampering with evidence charge, which is very interesting. Okay, do you want me to make that bigger, guys? I know, Karina. Yeah, it was his civil trial attorney, so he worked on all of the sort of divorce proceedings. Norm Pattis is his criminal lawyer. Does anyone have any questions before we go on though, so that we can, I want everyone to fully understand what's, I mean, I still haven't, that's a brief overview, guys. Like, there's so much more to this. It's just insane. Hey, Nola Chick, how are you? Yes, Sandy, they do. I think I put that up. I've got a couple of photos from today. It's lovely. Honestly. Yeah, I agree, Jane Doe. His current attorney today, Norm Pattis, said that he was waiting for the charge, and he's glad that the charge has finally come, so that they can see what the police have on him. Hey Tracy, how are you? So does everyone understand, or is there anything that I can do to help out? Because it's a very complex case. It's really full on, and I haven't finished that timeline either. Thanks, Geezer Monkey. It is a twisted case. And those poor 5 children. So what's happened with the kids, just so everyone knows, they didn't when Jennifer went missing or disappeared, the kids moved to New York with their grandmother, Gloria Farber. So this happened in May, so I don't remember if they were on school or holidays yet. I'm not sure, because I'm Australian and that's not American school holidays. I don't get, or vacation time, or whatever you call it, school break. But they now live with Gloria in New York, and obviously now go to a different school. And the last I heard, that they were actually doing really well, all things considered. Okay, please clarify to attempted murder on Jennifer by attorney. So today, Trent Mawhinney, let me put up his photo. So Trent Mawhinney was his civil lawyer. So he helped with the divorce proceedings. You're going to love this photo, guys. This is Trent. Kent, not Trent. He, mid-May, some June 1st. Okay. So he was Fotis Dulos' civil attorney. So he would deal with all of the divorce proceedings, custody, things like that. Nothing criminal. So they were apparently good friends. When Fotis was first arrested on the tampering with evidence charge, he actually stopped working for Fotis, even though he probably still could have continued. I don't really know. And so that was sort of left it at that. And then today he was charged with conspiracy to commit murder against Jennifer. Yes, exactly. And so conspiracy isn't an actual murder charge. It's you have knowledge or involvement. Hey, Mandy Ray, how are you? So what he knew, I don't know. I haven't looked at his court documents yet. This is not a hitman. This is an attorney. An attorney who has been charged with violating his protection order against his estranged wife. He was charged with spousal rape. There was talk about him attempting to kill his wife. So yeah, I don't know if I want him to be my attorney. Okay, so let's go back to, hey honey boo boo. Yeah, so we're about to actually go through the warrant today, from today. We're going through that right now. I've pulled that up. So we'll start with Fotis's. So I'm not going to read every single sentence. I'll leave it up so you guys can see it. I might try and make this bigger. So you can see the three counts against Fotis. So the first count is murder, the second count is felony murder, and the third count is kidnapping in the first degree. Yep, former lawyer. So does everyone understand about his former lawyer now? Mr. Kent? Mawinnie? Yeah, I don't think you'll be an attorney anytime soon. Okay, so this is from today. The charges are for the 24th of May, which is the day that Jennifer disappeared and most likely was killed. It's hard to say that when you don't have someone's body. Like, I don't want, but I mean that's probably what's happened. So let's move to the next page. So bail was set at $6 million today. And it was to be posted only after arraignment. So he's actually in jail at the moment. And his attorney, Norm Pattis, has actually said that he will post bond tomorrow. So where the money's coming from, I don't know. Probably one of his alleged offshore accounts, because who's posting bond for this guy? This is the third time he's posted bond, and $6 million isn't something to sort of, you know, I couldn't do that. I don't think most people could. All right, next page. So this is where we start with the information. Exactly, Renee, and he did claim, that's a good point to remember, he did claim that he didn't have any money and that he couldn't pay his mother-in-law back the money that he had borrowed to start his business. He says he didn't have it, but yet he's posting all of this money for bond. Interesting, hey? So we have number one about the affiant, and the affiant is Detective John Kimball, a member of the Connecticut State Police with 26 years of law enforcement experience. 2, presentation. 3, initial missing person report, which is Friday, May 24th, 2019 at 6:59 p.m, the New Canaan Police Department received the initial report of a missing person identified as Jennifer Dulos. And she'll now be referred to as Jennifer or victim. So the New Canaan Police Department officers responded to the location, the residence, where they suspected blood evidence on a Range Rover parked in the centre garage bay. Jennifer was not located inside the residence. NCPD Investigation Division Officer Thomas Patton responded to the scene and located additional evidence indicative of a crime scene. NCPD contacted the Connecticut State Police for assistance, and detectives from the WDMCS Troop G office and the crime van responded to the scene. 4. Initial missing person case. The residence of 69 Willis Lane included a 3-bay garage, the centre bay of which contained a 2014 Range Rover. The left, north and right south bays were empty. While searching and processing the garage, members of the WDMCS crime van identified multiple areas within the garage which presumptively tested positive for blood. Investigators observed spatter stains on the driver's side of the Range Rover and on the garage floor north left of the Range Rover. Spatter stains are blood stains resulting from airborne blood drops created when an external force is applied to liquid blood. Detectives also noted indications that the scene had been altered by an attempt to clean it. So from the beginning, they knew that something happened because they saw the blood evidence and the attempt to clean it up. So detectives determined a 2017 Chevrolet Suburban registered to Jennifer was missing from the residential garage. This vehicle was found by NCPD abandoned at approximately 7 p.m. So within 1 minute of the report, the car is found, and it was on Lapham Road adjacent to the southwest portion of Waveney Park in New Canaan. The vehicle was unoccupied, its running lights were on, and its transmission was left in reverse. Jennifer was not found inside the vehicle or in the surrounding area. Investigators found stain splatter on the passenger side of the vehicle. Okay, and so we can have a little look at what evidence they found. Blood-like stain on Range Rover hood, DNA matched to Jennifer. Blood-like stain on the Land Rover bumper, matching Jennifer's. Stain on the Land Rover rear fender, matching Jennifer's. Stain from the kitchen sink faucet. Mixture of Jennifer and Fotis. Blood-like stain sink cabinet door, positive for blood of Jennifer Dulos. Swabbing inside knob plate mudroom door, DNA match to Fotis. Blood-like stain garage door, DNA match to Jennifer. Blood-like stain from east garage wall, DNA match to Jennifer. Okay, so here's some of the important players in this now. So, Fotis Dulos and Associates. These are central to the investigation. We've got Fotis, estranged husband of Jennifer, his residence. He lived in Jefferson Crossing, Farmington. Owned and operated a construction company named 4 Group. Victim and Dulos were married in 2006 and together have 5 children. Michelle Troconis, the girlfriend of Dulos, who resided with him in the Jefferson Crossing home. So Jennifer moved out and basically Michelle moved in, and they both lived there without paying any money, any rent or anything, or the mortgage on the house. It's just ridiculous. Powell Gumini was a full-time employee of 4 Group and worked closely with Dulos daily as a project manager for 4 Group. He regularly operated a Toyota Tacoma. That is key information in this, guys. Kent Mawini, practicing attorney and personal friend of Dulos, and Andres Boutsiardis, childhood friend of Fotis Dulos, who lives in Greece. So these are the vehicles that are important to the case. The 2015 Chevrolet Suburban, registered to the Four Group and operated by Fotis. 2014 Jeep Cherokee, which was registered to the Four Group and operated by Michelle Troconis and Gumeni. 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, high performance pickup truck, black in color, registered to Four Group and commonly operated by Fotis. And then a 2001 Toyota Tacoma, a red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, registered to Gumeni's wife, Barbara. According to Gumeni, his wife normally drove her own vehicle, and he used the Toyota Tacoma for transportation to and from the Farmington area in connection to his employment by Fotis Doulos Company. During Gumeni's work week, he indicated he was usually provided a Four Group vehicle to operate. So this is the initial contact with Fotis. Do you guys want me to read all of this sort of stuff or briefly go over it? What would be better for you guys? What works for you guys? I think I should probably read it because it does have interesting stuff in there. It's probably best to read because it's got some good stuff in there. So initial contact with Fotis on the 25th of May. So that's the day after Jennifer goes missing. At approximately 2:47 p.m, Dulos entered the lobby of the New Canaan Police Department and was met by Officer Patton and CSP. I don't know what CSP stands for. Detective Christopher Allegro, nearly 3 hours after his initial expected arrival. So he was 3 hours late. That's just rude. When asked about his attorney, Dulos indicated the lawyer, Jacob Pietranka, was outside talking on the phone. Dulos asked investigators if there was any news on his wife's disappearance and was told detectives were seeking his help in finding her. Officer Patton told Dulos that he would be entering a secure area of the facility and asked if he had any weapons or contraband. As Dulos began pulling items from his clothing pockets, almost immediately he began patting his own pockets and muttering, "Where's my phone?" At approximately this time, Pietranka entered the lobby and announced to police that Dulos would be providing no interview and that he and Dulos would be leaving. Detectives were surprised to hear that Dulos was not going to help in the search for Jennifer, and they began to look for clarification from Dulos and Pietranka. As this discussion was taking place, Pietranka handed Dulos the cell phone he was carrying. Interesting. Detective Allegro spoke up to ask Dulos, "Is that your phone?" And Dulos responded affirmatively. Detective Allegro asked to see the phone and Dulos handed it over the phone with no apparent hesitation. Observing the phone was locked with a 4-digit passcode, Detective Allegro asked for the unlock code. Dulos provided the code as 0000. That's original. And Detective Allegro unlocked the phone. As he placed the phone onto airplane mode, a setting which removes the cell phone from the network, thus presenting the data on the phone to be remotely erased, Pietranka asked Detective Allegro what he was doing. Detective Allegro responded that he was securing the cellular phone and the data it contains because it is his belief that the phone contained evidence relating to the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos. He further indicated that a search and seizure warrant would be sought to authorize a search of the cell phone for such evidence. Dulos responded by saying nothing. New Canaan Police Department surveillance video documented the transaction and showed Dulos appearing agitated and confused. Pietranka asserted that police had no grounds to seize the cell phone because they had no warrant. Detectives acknowledged that a search and seizure warrant would be sought and that the cell phone would not be searched until a lawful search and seizure warrant had been issued. Their actions were restricted to the securing of the cell phone and the prevention of potential destruction of evidence contained within the phone. Pietranka responded by saying he needed a moment with his client, and both men walked out of the New Canaan Police Department lobby. So that's interesting that he pats his pockets to say where's his phone, but his lawyer's using his phone outside. So there's a search warrant for the phone, and that's granted. Initial information on the phone showed that Dulos' handset was in the area of Albany Avenue in Hartford during the 7 o'clock hour of the day Jennifer disappeared. Albany Avenue video canvas. Starting on the 27th of May, WMCS detectives began to canvass the area of Fairmount Green Street and Albany Avenue in the city of Hartford, which resulted in the development of footage showing a large dark coloured pickup truck consistent with the Ford Raptor registered to the foregroup travelling in the area on the 24th of May at approximately 7:40 p.m. So they're already sort of gathering their evidence, and that's when he is dispersing of evidence. Hartford surveillance video. On the 30th of May, WDMCS detectives contacted the Hartford Police Department Special Operations Group, Capital City Command Center, and requested their assistance in determining Dulos' activities in the area of Albany Avenue. And that's where they locate a man wearing a light-coloured shirt, dark pants, and a ball cap. This individual was subsequently identified as Dulos. He was observed operating a large black-coloured pickup truck, which was later identified as a 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, registered to the foregroup. A female passenger in the Ford Raptor was shown on surveillance, subsequently identified as Fotis Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis. C4 mapped out Dulos' movements as he deposited multiple black-coloured plastic bags into several trash receptacles during the evening of the 24th of May. And so it shows you here all of the times that he's on his little excursion, thinking that he can get away with murder. So at 7:31, the black Ford Raptor enters the area of Albany Avenue covered by Hartford police surveillance cameras. 7:32, the Raptor is shown traveling eastbound along Albany Avenue. 7:32, again, it's turning right from Albany Avenue onto southbound Milford Street. Sorry, I was reading comments. So the vehicle passes through the camera's field of view. Several plastic bags can be seen in the rear bed of the pickup. At this point, the truck travels through a portion of city streets not covered by surveillance cameras for approximately 7 minutes. So at 7:39, the Ford Raptor re-emerges onto Albany Avenue and turns right to travel eastbound again. At approximately 7:39 p.m, the vehicle stops at Albany Avenue and Garden Street as the male gets out of the driver's seat, grabs a black plastic bag and places it into a trash receptacle on the sidewalk. The camera angle shows the rear bed of the truck is now largely empty of bags. Wonder where they all went. It's just like magic, isn't it? 7:40, a Ford Raptor continues eastbound on Albany Avenue until it reaches Center Street, where the driver conducts a U-turn to travel westbound again along Albany Avenue. As the truck passes the camera, the rear bed of the truck is seen to hold only one plastic bag. 7:40, the Ford Raptor is shown from behind, traveling westbound on Albany Avenue and stopping at Green Street. The male emerges from the driver's seat, retrieves the last garbage bag while standing to the rear of the truck and discards the bag into the trash can. At 7:50, a Ford Raptor travels westbound along towards Albany Avenue until it passes out of the area of surveillance coverage at approximately 7:50. So there's additional C4 video. It shows Dulos removing what appeared to be a large rigid object from the rear of the Ford Raptor and leant it up against a building. The object was consistent with the appearance of a WeatherTech brand rear cargo liner determined to be missing from Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban. C4 video also shows an unidentified person removing what appeared to be a light-coloured piece of material containing a large blood-like stain. This item appears consistent with one of two small camping pillows, which Jennifer's nanny, Lauren Almeida, reported were missing from the garage storage shelves at the Wells Lane crime scene. Investigators subsequently identified and interviewed the homeless male who told investigators he had seen what he described as a bloody pillow, but he had not taken the item. 14. Recovery of evidence. So the detectives checked trash receptacle shown on surveillance and recovered garbage bags consistent with the black garbage bag shown on C4 video. What appeared to be cut clothing and undergarments with a blood-like substance, plastic zip ties containing blood-like substance, other items and household goods, e.g. kitchen sponge, with blood-like stains and other household trash items. Numerous items recovered from trash receptacles corresponding to dump locations shown on C4 video were submitted to the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Forensic Science Laboratory located in Marital, Connecticut. Oh gosh, and so you can see on the screen, I'm not going to read those all out. I'll leave that up for a second so you guys can read the evidence that was collected. So from those things, I think I remember the Vineyard Vine striped t-shirt. I think that that's what she was allegedly wearing that day. And it was one of her favorite shirts. I think I remember that. So that's interesting. Let me have a look and see what everyone's saying in chat. Just wait till Bridget gets to the interviews. Interesting. We're getting there. So there's a lot of, we know what's happened. And look at the last one, swabbing of bag, opening and separate bag portion. DNA matches Jennifer, Fotis and Michelle. I think it's too late for her, Geezer Monkey, to get a deal like KK. I don't know. What do you guys think? If she turned on Fotis now, if Michelle Troconis turned on Fotis now, what do you think? What do you think would happen? I think it's too late for her to do that and to walk away scot-free. I think maybe months ago. So they recovered an altered license plate. So I do remember this. Basically, Dulos placed a FedEx box into box into envelope into the drain. Hey G Maria, how are you? And they were able to recover it. Fotis attempted to change the numbers on the license plate using blue tape and clear adhesive, but they were able to determine what the numbers actually were. Oh. So, and they belonged, the license plate belonged to Fotis, I believe. Yeah, registered to Fotis Dulos. So there's discussion that they switched the plates over to try to trick people when they were dumping stuff. Okay, so arrest number 1. So the first arrest happened on the 1st of June for Dulos and Troconis. They were both charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence and for hindering prosecution in the first degree. Then there was an initial interview with Michelle Troconis. As of drafting this affidavit, Dulos has provided absolutely no cooperation to law enforcement in their investigation into Jennifer's disappearance. Investigators have turned to Dulos' girlfriend Michelle Troconis for assistance. Starting on the 24th of May, so the day that it happened, the night that they got called, they were contacting her straight away, which is really interesting to me. They were so on top of this. Newfoundland police personnel reached out to her on the 24th of May several times, leaving multiple phone messages for her to call back. She failed to respond to any of the messages. On the 2nd of June, so the day after she was charged with those 2 counts, detectives conducted the first interview with Troconis at Newfoundland Police Department headquarters following her initial arrest. Troconis' attorney Andrew Bauman was present in the room during all questioning. During this initial interview, Troconis offered her first version of events of the day of Jennifer's disappearance, as well as circumstances leading up to that day. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Okay, so the explanation of alibi scripts. So this is really interesting. If you guys haven't heard this part yet, this is really interesting. On the 3rd of June, the day after Troconis' first interview, WDMCS crime van detectives were executing a search warrant at 4 Jefferson Crossing. So that's the home that Fotis was living in, that Gloria Faber paid for, when they located a set of handwritten notes. These documents came to be referred to by investigators as the alibi script. The 2-page document included 2 distinct handwriting styles, which were later confirmed by Troconis to be her own handwriting and that of Dulos. The alibi script was an outline of the activities of Troconis and Dulos for the dates of the 24th and the 25th of May, and they laid out in approximately hourly increments. The original handwritten alibi script was recovered from a trash bin in the 4-group office, and photocopies were in a briefcase. So, just so people remember that the 4-group officers were at the house. The alibi script was recovered. The alibi script included a narrative which was nearly identical to the information provided by Troconis in her first interview, and it represented an account of the 24th and the 25th, which Dulos and Troconis together had authored, and which narrative Troconis presented nearly verbatim in her first interview. In her second 2 interviews, Troconis' account of those dates diverged from the alibi script, particularly when confronted with evidence, much of which was unknown to investigators during the first interview. It is therefore important to describe the various source of information developed thus far during the investigation. What idiot? Seriously. Okay, so interview number 2. Starting in her second interview, Troconis provided the following reasons of why she and Dulos had written out the alibi scripts. Here we go. Come on, try and give us an excuse. Troconis stated that either Saturday or Sunday, so the 25th or the 27th, well, that doesn't make sense with the dates, she was present for a phone conversation between Dulos and his family attorney, Jacob Petrenka, in which Petrenka instructed Dulos to write out a precise timeline of his actions. On Wednesday, the 22nd of May, the date of his last visitation with his children, which had occurred in part at Jennifer's home. Troconis reported the attorney had told Dulos to write down everything he had done during the visit to Jennifer's home. Petrenka specifically told Dulos to record whether or not he had entered Jennifer's home. Troconis remembered being surprised that Dulos had been to Jennifer's home that date because Dulos had told her the visitation occurred at Grace Farms in New Canaan. Troconis continued, Fotis goes, no, I did not go in the house. And he, Petrenka, said, make sure, where did you guys eat? Dulos continued to say, no, I didn't go inside the house, but yes, I hugged the kids. We played. I don't know if a hair went in. Come on now. I'm sorry. I'm fairly sure I remember. Didn't we find blood evidence now inside the home, and you're worried about a hair going in? Following the call, Troconis confronted Dulos. I'm like, Fotis, where were you on Wednesday? Because you told me you went to Grace's Farms. Dulos admitted he had gone to Jennifer's house and added they had eaten outside. Troconis reported Dulos had told her, Jacob was saying write down everything as you were by the time you spent in Jennifer's house. Where did you eat? Did you put any plates inside the house? Did you remember going to the bathroom? Dulos repeated to Troconis that he had not entered Jennifer's home. I know, I love the sentence, a hair went in. Detectives pointed out in recording their timelines, both she and Dulos had chosen to admit the trip to dump trash hut in Hartford, to which Troconis replied, I know. When Troconis was told this looked bad, that she and Dulos had failed to record potentially incriminating information, Troconis replied, okay, I know. Troconis denied that Dulos had told her to leave certain items out of the script. The reporter Dulos had told her to write out the highlights of her day's events. When asked if Dulos was dictating what story Troconis should tell police, she responded, obviously was for me to say it, but he was trying to be more accurate, but with a lie. That's what I'm saying. He was trying to fill things that I don't remember with things that didn't. It wasn't true. Troconis submitted to 2 subsequent voluntary interviews in the presence of her attorney, which she presented vastly different accounts of the events of the 24th of May. Additionally, the latest seizure and search warrant execution on Dulos and Troconis' cell phones provided another source of information. Detectives also secured various sources of residential and commercial surveillance footage. Therefore, these sources of information for Troconis include Interview 1, alibi scripts, Interview 2, Interview 3, Troconis cell phone data, Dulos cell phone data, and residential surveillance. Yeah, she's got no credibility at all. Troconis interview claims. In each of her interviews, Troconis offered claims which conflicted with her other interviews, and even sometimes portions of the same interview. When confronted with conflicts in the information she was providing, whether they be more inconsistencies with other answers or contradictions to surveillance sources, Troconis would only provide more truthful information, sometimes modifying or changing her answer in the middle of it. So I don't think that from reading that, there's no chance that she's going to get a deal at all, because she's lied too much. So, I'm going to have to start skimming, I think, because we're only on page 11. We have time. We still have lots to go through. But so she was questioned about where Dulos was in the morning, because they do believe that this took place in the morning. Jennifer dropped her kids off at school and then came home. And by the time the either housekeeper or the nanny came to the house, Jennifer wasn't there. So it had to have taken place in the between, like, I think they said drop the kids off at 8, so between like 8:30 and I think he was back at home by 1. So I think Fotis and the girlfriend have officially split. I think they did when this all sort of started. So she first told them that when they woke up at the Farmington residence at 6:40 that she and Dulos had showered and were intimate together before she made breakfast for her daughter and then drove the daughter to school. And they say that that's inconsistent with the information from the forensic download of Dulos' cell phone, which indicated the alarm was activated at 4:20 a.m. and turned off at 4:21. So they pressed again about where Dulos was, and she says, so maybe he wasn't home the entire morning, but she still tried to give the alibi from 6:40 a.m. till 8:15 a.m. She reported last seeing Dulos at 8:15 a.m. in the 4-group office with Mawini. So that's important to know. Bella, it's okay. Bella's growling. She says that she was out of the house from 9 till 11:30. So then she asked to clarify when Dulos was home in the morning, and she wouldn't. And she began telling investigators what she had been doing by saying, all my morning I have doing he was in the house, I have text. And then the detectives press again, and she said, so maybe he wasn't home. Bill, are you okay? I think it's a bit windy, so Bella's a bit scared of the wind. Okay, so then in the second interview, she says about him waking up at 6:40. He was there when we woke up. He was in the house. And then when Troconis was told investigators had evidence showing Dulos was not in the house, Troconis replied, okay. Proceeded to cover her face with her hands, wipe her eyes, and then tried to change the subject. Andrew Bowman, Troconis' attorney, tried to clarify with Troconis to see if she actually saw Dulos on the morning of May 24th. Troconis hedged her answer, but acquiesced, I don't know, that she did not see Dulos on that day until between 1 and 2. So that's her second information she's given. Bill, what's wrong? I'm gonna have to pause for a second and sort Bella out because she's a bit worried about something. Troconis was asked if there was tension between her and Dulos, and her response was, we fight all the time. Detectives asked Troconis if the turmoil might be a motivating factor to get rid of Jennifer. Troconis reported that Dulos had expressed to her that he never thought Jennifer would do this to him and that he never saw this side of her. Troconis also conveyed Dulos had told her, sometimes I hope she disappears. Okay, so interview 3. Investigators asked Troconis if she's ready to admit that she was not 100% truthful with investigators during her first interviews, and Troconis hesitated and said yes. So she then says that she then admits that he wasn't at home when she shut off her alarm at 6:40 a.m. which is interesting. Okay, hang on one sec, guys. I'm gonna just quickly close the window to sort Bell Bell out because she's a bit anxious. I'm back. Poor little Bell Bell. She's a bit worried. She really doesn't like the wind. So she gets worried. She freaks out. She starts barking. Okay, Bell Bell. All right. Okay, so where were we? So, foregroup meeting and Dulos' cell phone. So apparently there was a foregroup meeting on the 24th of May, which was attended by Dulos and Kent Mawhinney. So now he's coming into the picture. Oh, she's laying down now. Yes. Score. She's calm. I've had to turn the aircon off, and so I'm going to die of heat, but she's happy. Okay, so during the initial interview, Troconis claimed that, so this is interview 1, and then there's 2, and then there's 3. So it's hard to sort of, you don't really know what the truth is, do you? So she sort of says that there's a meeting at 8:15. She ultimately told 3 different versions of this meeting. Troconis first said she saw Mawhinney and Dulos both sitting at the table talking with one another. Later, Troconis indicated she only heard Mawhinney and Dulos talking, but never saw the 2 of them together sitting at the table. And finally, Troconis reported she only heard Mawhinney talking but did not see or hear Dulos. Interesting. Troconis stated she greeted Mawhinney in the foregroup office that morning. And Mawhinney admitted to investigators he was at the foregroup office the morning but stated he never saw Troconis. So he's lied too. Well, which one do you believe? Interview 2, Troconis was asked if Mawhinney was in the foregroup office on the morning of the 24th of May, to which she began nodding her head and saying, yes, that I did see. That's an interesting way to put it. Yes, that I did see. She stated Mawhinney had a meeting that morning with Dulos. She continued to maintain that Dulos was present in the office at approximately 8:20 or 8:30 a.m. Troconis added that she had greeted Mawhinney by saying hi. When Troconis was asked if she knew the whereabouts of Dulos' cell phone that morning, she replied that she thought Dulos had his cell phone. When asked if Dulos would normally carry his cell phone with him, Troconis responded yes and no, but a lot yes. Troconis answered that it would be unusual for Dulos to be without his phone, even for a few hours. Troconis left open the possibility that Dulos had left his cell phone behind accidentally. But when questioned, Troconis reported Dulos had not told her he forgot his cell phone on the 24th of May. So he left his phone at home, and the alleged reason for that was so that he wasn't tracked in the morning where he was going. And I wonder why that would be. You fill in the blanks. So she tells detectives that after she dropped off her daughter at school, she goes to the foregroup office and she sees Mawhinney at the far end of a glass table. Upon seeing Mawhinney, she said good morning to him and he responded, hello, good morning. Troconis then noted that Dulos' cell phone was sitting on the table and she found that unusual, that the cell phone was there at the time when Dulos was not present and his whereabouts were unknown to her. Under repeated questioning by detectives, Troconis was unwilling to say that Dulos was not at the residence. She would only say that she did not see Dulos during the morning, not in the bedroom, not in the kitchen, not in the foregroup office, and that she did not know his whereabouts during the entire morning. That's so so tricky. Having seen his phone on the desk, Troconis reported she had assumed Dulos was at the residence. I thought he was there because Kent was there and I didn't see him, Troconis later added. Back then I always thought that he was in the house, but thinking I never saw him, I never heard his voice. So obviously he wasn't, or probably he wasn't in the house. So then there's a phone call from Andreas and he lives in Greece. The call comes in at 8:24 a.m. and this is pre-arranged the day before with Dulos. The first interview, this isn't mentioned by Troconis. And then in the second interview, she didn't discuss the call. She continued to claim no knowledge that Dulos didn't have his phone. In the third interview, she changes her entire story regarding the presence and absence of Dulos' cell phone that day by acknowledging Dulos' cell phone was sitting in the foregroup office as she is Kent and Kent was stood in the office, and that it received an incoming call on that date. She's only giving them what... She's been really tricky. She's giving them just a little bit. She's not coming out and telling the entire truth. She's just, I'll give you a little bit, and a little bit, just crumbs at a time. Mawini motioned for Troconis to answer the cell phone. Troconis responded. He said, like, there's a phone ringing. Are you going to do something with the phone or the call? And I picked it up the phone. Troconis stated she knew Andreas, a childhood friend of Dulos who lived in Greece, but she was not sure if that was him calling. She heard static when she answered the call, and it was difficult to hear. She explained the call was short and lasted a few seconds. And the cell phone data matches that. It was a 17-second phone call. There was no follow-up call for that either. So that's really interesting. I wonder whether that was planned. Well, it says that it was prearranged by Fotis, so I wonder if that was part of the alibi. So she has her morning alibis. So she dropped her daughter off and then she came back to the Farmington residence, the Jefferson Crossing residence. She leaves there at 9:10 and drops an item off to a friend. And then she travels north to Simsbury Stop and Shop, where she takes photographs of herself and a store robot, providing a secondary alibi. On her way home, Troconis stopped by an additional address in West Slimsbury, where she met with a different friend, providing a third alibi. Hey, old woman, thank you. Yes, we're doing okay in my area at the moment, but obviously Australia has been hit pretty hard. Okay, so we're still on page 14 of 35, so we're going to have to sort of skim through a little bit, but I want to make sure that we get the most important things. But see, the thing is that you can't believe anything that she says because she gives you lies and then half-truths and then some truths. So she's also inconsistent with questioning about Dulos' arrival back at home as well. Yeah, I agree, Geezer Monkey. True crime never ceases to amaze. So she says that she returns home to the Jefferson Crossing home at 12. She stated the Ford Raptor was not on the property because Gamini was driving it. Now Bella's barking again because the aircon's on. Bell Bell, what do you want? Come on, you'll be hot. Can you guys hear her barking and growling? Okay, so this is going to go on for a few pages about the inconsistencies with Troconis. I think we can all state that everything is inconsistent, and what I will do is I will put all of these documents in our Facebook group, All Things True Crime, so that we can go through each one of them and you can go through them with a fine-tooth comb. But so let's go through the interviews. So by the third interview, she says she can't account for Dulos's whereabouts in the morning. So she says, yeah, that's not really of interest. So the Mountain Spring Road property is a property that the foregroup owned, and they were renovating it, I believe. And they were there quite a few times that day. Troconis says about that Dulos called her on her phone to tell her they both had to go over to that property to clean the house in preparation for a client meeting the next morning. And she described that as common, to use their cell phones to call one another. Troconis brings a vacuum, a Swiffer mop, paper towels, Clorox spray, and garbage bags. So she reports that she drives 2.1 miles south to Mountain Spring Road in separate vehicles, and they arrive between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. And that is consistent. Well, no, it's actually not consistent, but residential surveillance shows them arriving at 1:36, so it's before the time that she gives them. She says the vacuum that she bought didn't work, so she returned home to get a broom. Detectives ask her what she sees in the driveway, and she sees the Suburban already parked with Dulos standing inside South Garage Bay. Troconis indicated that at approximately 3 p.m. she returned to Jefferson Crossing. She explained the way the Jeep was parked. It was easier to drive the Suburban. So she says she goes back to Mountain Spring Road between 3:40 and 4 p.m. When she arrived, she observed Dulos talking on his phone out in the area of the driveway where the cars are parked. Troconis began cleaning windows, but then gave up because she realized the house was too big. So that's really interesting as well, because it's such a huge house. Hey, Cookies Mum. It's such a huge house that why would you just have the owner of the company and his girlfriend cleaning the house? That doesn't really make sense. In interview 2, she says she doesn't know what he's doing on the property, but in interview 3, she gives completely different information. She'd been telling them that she was going there to clean windows. And then during the third interview, she said she was going there to clean bathrooms. So Gamini, his Powell Gamini, who is his employee, he arrives at the Mountain Spring Road at 5 p.m. And she says, Fotis and I were against the car, the Tacoma. Fotis was like behind me, like physical contact. Powell arrives. I think Powell or Fotis says, I didn't see anything, or we weren't doing anything. I think something like a joke. When asked to explain her meaning, Troconis answered like, yeah, we were making... Troconis appeared to be saying that Gamini's arrival interrupted Dulos and Troconis from engaging in sex alongside the passenger side of the Toyota. Yeah, Belle, it's okay. Let me just quickly close the door and see if she'll stop. Sorry, guys. Okay, we'll see what happens now with poor Bella. Sorry, guys. Okay. Apparently she spills coffee, and so she goes and gets paper towel. So he says that he spilt coffee in the car, and so she gets paper towel for that. Troconis indicated the used paper towel had been brown in colour. She also told investigators that the soiled paper towel did not smell like coffee. I remember that. Bella's okay. She's just really anxious because it's windy. In all interviews, she repeatedly talks about driving back and forth between the Jefferson Crossing and the Mountain Spring Road. But the timing isn't corroborated by the cellular data. So, you know, she's lying. So then we've got the day of, the night of, with the Albany Avenue. So remember how she and Fotis are seen on surveillance camera dumping items everywhere. So in her first interview that she says she wasn't sure what was going on. He throws something from the back, a bag, or I don't know what. I wasn't really paying attention. Troconis asked Dulos, why are we here? Like, it doesn't make sense. She went on to state, we've thrown garbage bags in other opportunities, but I've never been to that area. She says that the area is a creepy area. And then the detectives show her in that first interview the surveillance images. And she says, I don't know, I wasn't looking. I was on the phone. I was probably talking to P2, my friend P2. And then she mentions going to Starbucks, which they did do that. In the second interview, Albany Avenue isn't discussed. In the third interview, she changes elements of her story, and she explained, she changed her explanation of the items she was instructed by Dulos to bring to Mountain Spring Road. Troconis listed the items she brought to the property. I bought a bucket, a sponge, garbage bags, disposable gloves. She described the items. The bucket is white, the sponge is yellow and green, the garbage bags as black. Troconis also bought Windex, Clorox bleach, vacuum broom, paper towels. Investigators asked Troconis what she was planning on cleaning. She responded, the house, and I wasn't going to clean it all. See, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. So investigators asked Troconis if there's anything going on at 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, that she doesn't want to be part of. Troconis says, no, not that I know, not of my knowledge. So in the first in interview 3, she's still saying that she's there cleaning. And then we go on to once again talk about the spilled coffee in the Tacoma. And I think that is the car that they do believe that her body was put into, Jennifer's body was put into. And she's saying that he said it's coffee, but it was brown, but it didn't smell like coffee, basically. And so then they go to Russell's Speeder's car wash. And whilst there, they actually take Hal's Toyota Tacoma there and clean it. And that was really weird because that was his car, and he and Dulos asked to borrow that car, and then told Pal to use the foregroup car, and then Dulos goes and cleans Gamini's car, which is really, really weird. So that's that. I'm just going to have to skim some stuff. Otherwise, we're not going to get through. So then there's the surveillance timeline. So that's the date of the 23rd. The date of the 24th. Which doesn't really... That's before she disappears. Yes, I'm going to post all of these in the Facebook group because you've also got Troconis's and Kent Mawini's. I think that Troconis's, they will be slightly different, but a lot of it will be the same information. But you guys can go through that if you want to. It's just too much to do in one live. It's just way too much. So this is still the 24th, which the 23rd, the day before. No, it's not. What date is it? Yeah, that is the 24th. So a red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck drives off the property at 5:35 a.m. So complete lies. Obviously Dulos did get up at 4:30 like the alarm said, and someone left at 5:35 in Gamini's car. The day before, Fotis insisted Powell use the foregroup car, and that he left the Tacoma at Farmington residence. So then that car is taken to the area in which Jennifer lives. And I remember seeing there's actually images in the warrant of the New Canaan school bus showing that red Toyota Tacoma as well. So let's have a little look here. It says 8:05 Jennifer arrives home. So she drops the kids off and then she comes home, and there is an image. It's the last image of Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban, and it's driving eastbound along Wells Lane towards her residence. They believe that the murder and cleanup happened between 8:05 and 10:25. So they believe that Dulos was lying in wait in the garage or near the home, waiting for Jennifer to come back from dropping the kids off. Dulos packages Jennifer using plastic zip ties and places her inside her own Chevrolet Suburban. Dulos cleans the garage using supplies he finds in the garage and paper towels from the kitchen. At 10:25, he leaves the scene because her 2017 Chevrolet Suburban is actually seen traveling westbound, and her cell phone is as well. At 11:12 a.m., the Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling northbound on the Merritt Parkway, passing the New Canaan rest area at 11:12 a.m. The object is now visible in the rear bed of the truck, which appears to be the rim of a bicycle. The Toyota Tacoma is seen northbound on the Merritt Passage Parkway, passing the Fairfield Rest area. So it's being tracked the entire way. So at 12:22, the Toyota Tacoma pulls into 80 Mountain Spring Road, which is the property that the Four Group own. I have a feeling she's there. She has to be there, right, guys? That has to be where Jennifer is. So after that, almost like an hour after, at 1:36, a white Jeep followed by a black Chevrolet Suburban pull into Mountain Spring Road. According to Troconis, she was operating the Jeep and Dulos was driving the Chevrolet. And then they go back and forth. The cars go back and forth. Interesting, hey? I have no idea, Cookies Mum. I really don't know. Geezer Monkey, all 5 kids are Fotis and Jennifer's. They were together, well, so Jennifer discovered that, let me just double check the month. So in March of 2017, Jennifer discovers that Michelle and Fotis are in a relationship, having an affair. So they'd been together about 2 years before this occurred. So there's a whole back and forth between the cars. There's a couple of cars involved. I wish I could sort of like plot it out for you guys. I can't read it all though. I want to know. I'm just having a little look at what we know from here. So interestingly, Mawini actually lied to police. He said that he didn't remember speaking to Dulos on the day before, the 23rd, and phone records actually show that they did speak the night before. He claims that he didn't speak to Dulos on the 24th, and phone records show that he did at 7:47 p.m. He's now, and he said in his second interview, Kent Mawini, the former attorney, said that he received a concussion from a fall conveniently on the day after the disappearance. So he can't give the phone over because his phone, he got a concussion and his phone broke. How convenient. He still says that he didn't see Dulos or Troconis on the 24th, the day of the disappearance, when we've just heard that Troconis said that that they did. So he's so then it just talks a little bit about Powell, who was the project manager for the Four Group, and about how Fotis used his car. And Gamini actually went to the police himself. He thought that there was some suspicious things going on, so he actually came and told police what happened. So he kind of convinces, Dulos convinces Powell to use the four-group car and leave the Tacoma at the Farmington residence. And then when Gimini finally gets his car back, he realizes that not only has Dulos cleaned the car like he said he would, he actually had the car detailed. And I think that's when he was like, this seems a bit weird. Dulos also says to him, oh, you should really replace the seats. And Dulos also says you should sell the car to the four-group. And Gimini says, no, I don't want to do that as well. Oh, what is it about the seat? On the 30th of May, Dulos tells Gimini he should go to the junkyard and buy replacement seats for the Toyota and pay cash for them. Dulos told him he would reimburse whatever the cost was to Gimini in cash. Dulos also told Gimini that during future phone calls he was to avoid using the word seats and should instead refer to the seats as hardware. On the 31st, at Dulos' arguing, Gimini went to the junkyard and spent 2 hours looking for seats to replace those currently in his Toyota. That's really weird, guys, don't you think? So weird. So Dulos was and then I do remember from the past that they put new seats in, but actually Gimini actually doesn't throw the other seats out because he had a feeling that they'd be useful. So he keeps them, and I think he gives them to police. During an interview on July 12th, Gimini was shown a surveillance picture of the Toyota Tacoma, and he said that it was his car, and he was shocked when he learnt that the Toyota was captured on surveillance in New Canaan on the day of the disappearance as well. And he provides all of the information that he can. He's very, very cooperative. He wasn't involved in this at all. He was just an innocent bystander who got used for his car, basically. So, yeah, he offers the seats installed in the Tacoma at the time of the crime to Sergeant Bison, who sees them using a written consent to search. He was really, really helpful. And then we have Lauren Almeida, who's the nanny. I'm just having a little read to see the important information. Sorry, I was on mute. The eldest kids are 2 twin boys aged 13. I think the youngest is 8, 2 twin girls maybe. They're 8. And they all live with Gloria Farber. She arrives, okay, so the nanny arrives at 11:30 a.m. So by then, Dulos is gone from the home. So he's there at 8:05. So between 8:05 and then before 11:30, he has to be gone with her. she noticed that the rear mudroom door was unlocked. It was always locked. And she just kept, and Jennifer wasn't replying to texts. And then there was Jennifer's kids had an orthodontist appointment at 4:40 and Jennifer didn't show up. And that's when she then starts contacting Gloria Farber and close friends, and then they actually call the police. Yep, so we have a Facebook group, All Things True Crime, and I'm going to upload it into the Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, then just shoot me an email, missbridgetparker@gmail.com, and tell me that you want a link and I'll send it to you. It's just so much to go through. So the nanny says that she spoke to Fotis Dulos and he didn't really show concern for Jennifer, which is interesting. Interesting. We didn't know this. So on the 26th, 2 days after Jennifer goes missing, Dulos shows up at noon unannounced to Gloria Farber's Manhattan apartment to see the kids, and he demands entry, and he wasn't allowed in, and so the New York City police actually respond to the scene and were told by Dulos that his children had been abducted and that he was demanding to see them. And he was told to leave the property. That's really interesting. Do you have to pay for these? No, you don't have to pay for these. Okay, so Dulos texts on the 27th. He texts the nanny and says, "Thanks for your response. Please send me updates every 3 hours. I do not want to feel that I am pestering you, but please understand that I am the father and I am extremely concerned with the situation." That's so weird. Every 3 hours. And the nanny noticed that the 2 camping pillows were missing from the shelves in the garage that she'd put there. And that a cleaning supply bucket was also missing. It was either red or white. Then there's information about the financials that we've gone through. As of the 31st of May, 2019, Dulos's debt exposure totaled $7 million. Wow. And so that doesn't really show you. Indications that Jennifer Dulos is not alive. The following indications have been determined that Jennifer Dulos is no longer alive. So she wasn't, her financial stuff, her banks hasn't been checked until since the 23rd of May. No activity on her cell phone since the day she disappeared. No contact with family or friends since the day she disappeared. No medical centers or in-treatment centers since the day she disappeared. No insurance carrier information since the day she disappeared. No law enforcement agencies, databases, etc. have been have shown her. So as we sort of said before, that the Office of Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. James R. Gill, has stated that following his consideration of the above facts and circumstances, Dr. Gill indicated that based upon the facts of the investigation, the degree of blood loss, as well as other factors, he was prepared to state that Jennifer Dulos had sustained an injury or multiple injuries which he would consider non-survivable without medical intervention. Dr. Gill categorized the event as a homicide of violence to likely include some combination of traumatic blunt force injuries such as bludgeoning, beating, and or sharp force injuries such as stabbing. And then they discussed the use of zip ties. And zip ties were found with her blood, her DNA on it. And then it discusses his charges. So that's the 35 pages just on Fotis Dulos. The Troconis is 35 pages and Kent Mawini's is 19 pages. So I'm going to upload all three into the Facebook group, All Things True Crime. And if you don't have Facebook, shoot me an email and ask for them and I can send them to you. But so let's have a look and see when the next court date is. I can put, actually, I do have a link. Hang on, let me find it. I think I have a link for his. Let me see if this works for you guys. If someone can click that link that I've popped in chat, let me know if that works. That's Fotis Doulos' arrest warrant. You can have a look there. But let's have a little look at his next court date. That one doesn't have it. I think tomorrow. It works. Thanks, guys. So have a little read. I would love to know what you think. Have a read, and then when this video uploads, pop it in the comments so we can have a little chit chat. It's just too hard to read the full 35 pages, so I've tried to sort of condense down the important parts. And then someone shared with me, I can't play that video though. It's on YouTube. So I think we're going to leave it there for today. Today was the longest stream. No, Julia, I haven't. I'd love to find the documents. It's just there's so many things going on, so many cases, and I'm trying to do all of the cases, but also trying to sort of juggle because Bella being sick, and I don't want to sort of regret spending too much time on true crime when I should be spending with her. In case anyone doesn't know, my dog has terminal cancer, and so it's important for me to spend time with her. It's really hard for me to do stuff by myself, and so I'm so grateful that people help me out. People send me links, people mod, Renee and all of the other mods that are in here work out really hard for me, and it is hard when you do it by yourself. I'm trying, I'm learning. I can take positive criticism if there's anything that I can improve and change. I don't usually like to do long streams. This was a longer stream for me, but I think it's important to get information out there. Really important to get information out there. And I really can't stand this guy, and so I'm glad the evidence shows that he is guilty of murdering Jennifer Dulos. the evidence shows it. And so I'm glad that they have good evidence. I hope that it's enough to convict him. I'm looking forward to the day that the trial comes. I really am looking forward to it because I think that they're gonna play dirty. I think they're gonna fight hard. I think Norm Pattis is going to fight really hard. He's an exceptional lawyer. I'd love to have him on my defense team if I ever needed a defense lawyer. He fights hard. Oh, thank you. But yeah, if anyone ever wants to help, then feel free to send me whatever you want. And the thing is that I credit everyone. I always ask, if someone sends me something, I ask, would you like to be credited publicly or not? And that's their choice whether they do or they don't. But I make sure that I do that because I don't want to come on here and act like I'm doing this all by myself, because sometimes I get help, and it's important to all work together and to credit people when they do help you out. So with all that said, now that Bella has calmed down and isn't barking, of course, it's time for me to farewell you all. But thank you so much for everyone for coming in and for participating. And if there is cases that you want covered and things you want covered, just email me or pop it in the group. Yes, exactly, Geezer Monkey. I'm so sorry that you were in a similar position. It's really hard when you have an animal that she's like my soulmate. She's been with me since just before I got sick, before I was diagnosed with my illnesses. She's been through everything with me, and knowing that she's only got limited time, we're possibly looking at weeks, hopefully months, but I'm kind of thinking more weeks. I think it's better to sort of think that way just in case, but it's important to spend my time with her, because the last thing I want is for her to have regrets. And we're actually going to go to the beach soon, and I'm going to give you guys video of that on my second channel. But yes, take care everyone. I will be back soon. I'm not sure tomorrow or the day after yet. I'm just not sure. Oh, Geezer Monkey, I'm so sorry. I know. I get it. I just get it. It's beyond words. It's hard. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Much love to you all. Take care. I will upload the documents now in the group. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.